I think someone shared something about happiness that was very interesting in books.
I did.
Yeah, that was very interesting. Thanks for sharing. I read an article about happiness and unhappiness, and then
Okay.
how
Can
we,
you give a summary of the article?
yes, I don't remember the name of the lady, but she studies the brain as well, and she talked about how unhappiness is actually a kind of normal function of the brain, but that today politics, where that is not really talking about electing leaders, but just what is popular. People like the idea that we can cure or we have a treatment to be happy, and that we should delegate that to professionals when we can actually work on it. Or she mentions the idea of training to be happy and accepting that unhappiness is something normal, that we won't feel happy all the time because our neurotransmitters, we are not wired they are not wired to be released all the time. So I thought that was very interesting.
And what was the conclusion was get used to being unhappy.
That we can learn to be happy,
Okay.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
when we feel unhappy, that is not a disease. That some people will make a thing that we are sick because we're not happy all the time. We can train our brains to be happy,
Mhm.
rewire it, but that when we feel unhappy, that it isn't exactly a disease. That is what she. I'm gonna type the name of the lady in the chat box.
Yeah, I had
No,
something
no.
to do with the research, but Xavier, you are the one
Yeah,
pushing.
yeah, I was the one. In fact, there is a research that say that indeed we can learn to be happy. Happiness can be learned, really learned. If you're a little bit logic, if you can generate neurons, yeah, you can generate happiness too. It's logical in a certain way.
Yeah, sure. But happiness is feeling, right? So,
It's about dopamine too, huh?
but the whole idea, sure, but it's not. I mean, yeah, I have an own quite strong position on the whole concept of happiness, and I don't see it as something real. Yeah, just like Candy was saying, it's not something you're supposed to be in all the time, right? But I'm eager to hear about you guys. So good. Thank you for the subject, Candy. Let's see, Christina.
I think we talked about that some time ago again, but I also have a special view of, I think this is something that has been created, be happy, like we should be happy all the time. I think we have to define, and people are kind of biased in what do they believe the happiness is. There's this word happy. You can be content, you can be in a flow of doing things, you can be not unhappy. You have to define happy and unhappy. What does unhappy mean? I mean, what's that? And I think it has to do a lot with the latest years of this social media hype, my happy moment and my happy, I don't know what. And then suddenly they go off social media and then they are doing like nothing. And then the difference between this hype is then what they define as, oh, I'm probably unhappy, or I can see even in younger people, like friends to my daughter, she's like 40. And suddenly they said, that I'm depressed. I said, what do you mean? And it's not, start using words and the language in completely different way, which is
Nice.
very incredible how we use language.
Mhm.
We should pay attention to how we perceive words and language. If we go to a country with their kind of survival mode in paying the rent and eating and everything, they will definitely not start having problems around if I'm happy or not.
Nice.
And then you can go to, let's say, Sweden, poor, this country of mine. They have a lot of also, yes, I'm not happy. So what does that mean? It's a very strange concept around happiness. We should be very aware of not trying to achieve happiness. You don't achieve happiness. You try to achieve other things first, and maybe you turn out to be kind of happy. That's my perception of.
Yeah,
No, I
but
don't like the word happy in itself because I know that it's so biased in its.
To me, happiness is a state, just like you can be, I don't know, sad, but without being depressed, right? You can laugh and feel humorous, and yeah, it's a great state to be in, but it's very volatile and it passes, and
Exactly.
it's not. I mean, to me, it's not a goal in itself.
Exactly. That's what I wanted to say. It's not a goal in itself. I think that's important to.
It's a
Yes,
side product.
it can mislead people a lot, and start to think that they are not, that they, of course, they are missing something if you start to think about that all the time. But it's not a goal to say, oh, I need to be happy. I think
I
very
want to be
dangerous.
happy, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I want to be happy, sure. It's better than being just depressed or being.
If you're okay, why do you want to be happy? You become happy every now and then. But if
But
you're
I,
okay,
but I think that people see it as you've got depressed or sad,
yeah,
sad, okay. And then above that is happy. But I don't think they're in the continuation of each other. I think it's
no,
something else.
yeah,
Anyway, let's explore this further. Erica.
I think for me, happiness or to be happy is wake up every day and do what I love, and share my time with my family and my dear friends. This moment for me, it made me feel grateful and I feel happy, but not that happy because I am happy, just because I feel comfortable with my surrounding, with everything I do in my life. I feel comfortable, I think, because I have a purpose, my life have a meaning. I don't know, for me, that's can be.
Right. Yeah. Those two words, purpose and meaning, to me are way more important and will give you way more life. I think the idea you can aim towards life satisfaction. That sounds like or fulfillment, right? You feel fulfilled in your life. Those are like goals to have. But being happy all the time is, I mean, you probably need to live in denial or something like that, right? Because yeah, it's so fleeting, that moment of happiness. And it's okay not to be happy. I mean, right now I'm facing some really serious problems with Facebook and all my ads are down and I'm losing a lot of money right now every single day. And obviously that doesn't make me happy. But it's part of my work. It's part of
yeah,
my fight of development of this company and trying to build something. So it's part of a struggle, but the struggle is not something negative. It's part of this purpose and meaning, right? The struggle has a meaning. The struggle makes me better at whatever I'm doing. And the struggle, I know it's worth fighting for and even suffering for it a little bit because it will move the whole thing forward. So and I'm grateful for the struggles as well. I don't shy away from them.